Good morning. I'm getting ready for work this morning and decided to pop in really quick. I'm getting ready to do a fall lantern. The lanterns are very popular nowadays, and this is something very popular for bringing to funeral homes and things like that as well. If you ever want to personalize and make something, in somebody's remembrance, this is always a good idea. But it's also very nice for fall decor. So I'm going to turn the camera around now and show you my supply list, or my supplies. And here they are. This is a lantern I bought at Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply has them marked down right now. This one's pretty large and pretty heavy. I would say this is probably 20 pounds and at probably close to 2 foot tall. This is a pretty good size lantern, but a smaller one would do just as well if you were wanting to use it for a centerpiece for your table. This would look gorgeous near a fireplace, or just as part of, just outside the door, or just in your foyer. It would be gorgeous on somebody's entry table in their foyer. But anyways, this one has a button to in the back. I'm going to make sure and put it in the back, but the battery's dead on it, so. But anyway, if you do decide to make the lantern, make sure that if it has a button like that, that you put that in the back so that it doesn't show in the decor parts. But here's the supplies that I'm going to use. The green floral foam that we used for the centerpiece recently, I may grab some of that today and glue it here on the sides. If not, we can do without it. What you will need, though, is some floral wire. Hopefully you can see this here. This is what we're going to tie the bow with. This is what we'll make some of the stems lighter with. And that's a really cool technique that I'll show you tonight, too, that we used when I had my flower shop for making bouquets and corsages and things like that. A lot of times the stems that come like this are so thick and heavy that it weighs down the rest of the arrangement, and it'll make it difficult to stick onto your piece or to, stay in your foam. But if you're going to go and grab a lantern today, they'll have this in the floral department at Walmart. Or if you get to go to Hobby Lobby, it's just called Floral Wire. And this is this is a 20 gauge, which is relatively strong. It's not so thick that you can't bend it, but it's relatively strong. And if they don't have a 20, you can get an 18, or you could get a 24 or something like that. Just do something similar so you'll be able to bend it with your hands. You'll need your wire cutters of some sort. We're going to use a hot glue gun. And then I picked these flowers, which reminded me of my BFF because she's a sunflower lover. I picked these up. They were half price at Hobby Lobby. Let's see, they were 40% off. And this one was regularly $3.99. Is that what that said? $3.99? Yep. But I thought it was very nice looking. When you have something this big, and these are $39 at Tractor Supply. So when you have something this big, you're going to want to use a higher quality flower on it if you can. So if not, get the flowers at the dollar store and we'll still make it work. But I got 3 of these because if you remember, whenever you're working with anything artistic, working in odd numbers and starting in the 3s is really what gives it a cohesive look. We're not going to use 3 of these birds, but I did, they come in a 3-pack, so I bought a 3-pack, but we're going to use 1, and we'll use a little bit if you have some left. You don't have to have it, but I like sometimes for my birds to be in a nest. So if you have any of the Spanish moss left, they have that at the Dollar Tree, or if you got some for the last project, you'll have some left. I'll show you how to wind that around and make a bird's nest so you don't have to buy a separate bird's nest. We're going to need a ribbon, and your ribbon will need to be in proportion to the size of your lantern. This is a large lantern, so I couldn't use a little bitty skinny ribbon. I would have to use 3 or 4 spools of it, and it still may or may not look right. So if you get a lantern half this size, you may be able to get, this is a 2.5-inch ribbon, you may be able to get a 1.5-inch ribbon, or use some that you have if it's in fall. I'm not saying you have to go buy anything. This was 40% off at Hobby Lobby. But I wanted a fall color, and because so many of my other colors here are in the gold family with a little bit of this darker in, the base or the depth of the design will come from the ribbon, because we'll do it first. Excuse me. So I went with a darker color. Also going in threes, as we discussed before, I got the filler flowers. If you've watched the other floral video, if not, I'll explain it here now. These are smaller flowers that go in and show less importance than your main focal flower. See how they sort of come in behind it and from underneath it? That's how they'll be in the display. But I got long skinny ones so I can get a little bit of movement out of them too. We're going to do sort of an L shape on this because it lends itself to that. And then I just picked up 3 sets of leaves. Again, staying with the threes. These are no better than the Dollar Tree leaves or the dollar store leaves. These just happen to be picked up at Hobby Lobby on their 40% off. I got, and then I got 3 more just odd, interesting tidbits to put in. There's one with some acorns. We have one with some sort of gourds and berries. And I got another one with some other berries and a pine cone. These are just to add more interest at around the focal point area. And I may or may not dab a little cotton in here or there. And that's just basically because it was on sale and it was cute and it would go in with a fall theme. I got out the leftover ends and pieces from the flower arrangement that we did the other day, the centerpiece. Don't know that I'll use any of that, but it is fall colors. And if we were to end up needing a little bit of extra flowers or anything, you can just grab something you have around the house and cut off a piece here or there from that. So that's what I wanted to show you with this. So basically 3 main flowers, 3 long flowers, 3 leaves, and 3 somethings of interest. Wire, hot glue, a bird if you want to add one, and a ribbon that's in proportion to the size of your lantern. We'll do this, within the next night or 2, and I'm excited to work on it. Thanks for joining me.